Hello, welcome to this Q&A session on Tapping School, all questions, EFT, what we learned over the past 4 days together. I'm going to give you one moment. I'm going to mute myself. Session and for all of you watching live, or if you want to come into the room with me, we had a bit of a glitch in the Zoom link. The old one that I had wouldn't let me come live on Facebook, and I wanted to make sure I could come live on Facebook for any of you watching on the go. So you will see in the group, we'll post a new link. Feel free to come on and join me in today's session. I love meeting you live because number one, we can talk about any ways that you're like, okay, I tried tapping on this, but I'm not sure about that. Or I would really love to use tapping for X, Y, and Z, but I'm not sure how to do that. Can you give me some ideas? So feel free to come in the room. I will also post it right here in the comments, the Zoom link, if you are available. And I believe Sarah is here with me today. So I'm going to bring her in the room now. You guys met her yesterday. She is the co-facilitator of Tapping School. And we're going to go over frequently asked questions for the program. We're going to go over details of when it starts, the calendar, how many hours a month does it take, all those kind of technical questions. Awesome. I see some of you joining me. So I'm going to go ahead and bring you into the room. I think you just have to accept. And we're going to talk about this topic yesterday of how could adding EFT benefit me? How could adding EFT benefit me? And let me know if you guys can enter that room. So feel free to comment in the chat if you've been exploring some ideas. I mentioned yesterday we had, Shannon Winchester a few years ago. She found EFT when her son was going through a lot of allergies, and she was like, I don't really know, like how I think it could help me as a mom. And I was like, well, that's a whole business. Like you could not only create tapping sessions for yourself, but for other parents that are going through a really stressful time with their child and faced with a lot of uncertainty. Yay, Ashley, I see you're here. Okay, I'm promoting you guys to panelists. Let me know if it's working and if it's letting you in the room. And Sarah, you particularly, I just invited you, and Robin, Ashley. Yay, Ashley's on. Welcome, Ashley. Thank you for being here. And Sarah, I see you're coming, and Robin should be there too. Awesome, awesome. And hello to all of you on the live. Feel free to say hi when you're here and ask your questions. So if you have any questions for me, feel free to drop them in. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. And hi, Robin, you're back. So good to see you. And let's dive in. So welcome to the room, Sarah. Welcome, Robin. And I think Ashley's here too. I'm going to keep an eye out because I know as more of you jump on, I will be able to bring you in. Robin, do you have any questions in particular that you wanted to cover as we start this session?
I do. I tapped with you on Tuesday, and I really was raw after that.
Raw?
Emotional, just raw, my emotions were very raw.
Yeah.
Can I keep going back to that session that we did and redo that to kind of help me move through those emotions?
Yes. So you can definitely go back to the one we did. Also in day one, I gave you a do-it-yourself tapping script. And so that would be, I'm also sending out tapping scripts this weekend. So you can refer to those as well. But every time you sit down to tap, you're kind of meeting a different version of yourself, right? Because at the, before you felt one way, you've shifted a little bit because we just sort of dusted the surface. So I would just sit down with yourself today and say, okay, how am I feeling now? And I'm happy to tap with you for a few minutes here today. But this goes for anyone listening. Like if you have a session that kind of opens something up, it doesn't fully finish it. It's always going back to those three basic questions. How am I feeling now? Where do I feel it in my body? And how high is it on a scale of 0 to 10? Sarah, anything you would add to that? Because I know this happens frequently where people open stuff up and then they're like, oh, I have more to clear.
Well, I think you can go back. I wasn't here Tuesday, so I'm not sure what you tapped on, but you can go back to that tapping and check in to see if the same feelings are there, like if they're still there. Maybe it was a 10 when it started, or maybe in the middle it popped up to a 10, right? Like you whatever emotion. So you can redo that. But with the tapping script, you can also identify what's now, because usually what happens is either the same feeling will grow. So it starts as like, I feel kind of sad, but it's like a 3. And then you start tapping and you realize it's an 8. And then you've got way more there. Or we call it shifting aspects, when the sadness, you realize there's actually anger there. And now the anger is a 10 and the sadness feels much lower. Now the sadness is like a 2, so when you continue tapping, usually after each round, you check in to see what's the emotion now? Has it changed? And we really always go with whatever the highest emotion is. So you could go back and redo that and see what comes up. And it might be the same feeling, but it might be something different. And then you tap with that. So really between each round of tapping, you're checking in to see what's the feeling now and what's the highest feeling now. So I hope if that's helpful, I think that might be helpful. But it's normal when you tap also to, it really does unlock things within the body. It does unlock things within the subconscious. So it's really normal to even start tapping and then realize, whoa, there's way more here than I realized. Or this really is something that I didn't know was so significant. And actually, there's a lot more emotions here. But essentially, it's a little bit like riding waves. You're taking the highest emotion, you're bringing that down. Whatever the next highest emotion is, you're writing that down. So you really, and there can be a lot of things in one. There's often, it is more complex than just one feeling. It often has a lot of feelings or a lot of beliefs.
So Robin, so that question, that's amazing, Sarah. That question, what am I feeling now? What is the highest feeling now? Do you feel like sharing that today?
I think the highest feeling now is anger, and the question that keeps resonating with me, or the statement that keeps resonating with me, and I mean, I've done a lot of work with this, so this isn't like a brand new thing with me, but the question is, and no one's, I mean, in my own head, it's been there, but no one's ever put it into words, is why would parents do that to a child? And so that's kind of what is there right now, kind of circling with me, is why would parents do that to a child?
Which came up, right? Like we
Yeah.
touched on that the other day. And then how high is the anger on a scale of 0 to 10?
Probably a 10.
Okay. And where do you feel it in your body?
In my head.
In your head. Okay.
Like,
Yeah. So we can actually do some tapping on this right now. And I see Cindy and Raina in the room as well. Michelle, welcome. If you're in the Zoom room and you don't want to come on the video, that's totally fine. Just let me know in the comments, because I keep trying to promote you into panelists. And then, so I just want to make sure that if you want in, let me know, or if you just want to be off video, that's fine. And if you don't want to be on video, you can go ahead and ask questions right here in the chat, or you can ask questions in Facebook as well. So this goes for everyone. If you're tapping and you feel like, okay, we opened something up and there's more here. What am I feeling now? What's the highest feeling? And then those 3 questions: what's the emotion? How high is it on the scale of 0 to 10? Where is it in the body? I will say, Robin, like, this is why tapping school is designed, because as we start to work through these more complex issues, obviously it just takes time, right? We need ongoing sessions. We've heard it explain like peeling the layers of an onion, right? It's like, oh, well, I was sad, now I'm angry. And so that alone could take a 60-minute session, but tapping school will progress you quickly because you are tapping a lot. So that goes for everyone, right? Like, there's these things known as one-hit wonders in tapping, where you have those 90 seconds and it's mind-blowing and you go from a 10 to a 2, but more often than not, it's a slow and steady unfolding and healing and processing along the way. So let's tap for you, Robin, and we'll see if we can start to shift this anger down. But again, you might have another aspect shift. It might be like, oh, that anger really turned to sadness, or something else. So we'll tap together right now. You can go ahead and just dive in, tapping on the side of the hand. And say, even though I'm really angry,
Even though I'm really angry,
I'm angry at my parents,
I'm angry at my parents,
and I feel it in my head.
and I feel it in my head.
And there's a part of me that doesn't want to let it go.
And there's a part of me that doesn't want to let it go.
I love and accept myself anyway.
I love and accept myself anyway.
And I'm going to give myself permission
And I'm going to give myself permission
to be angry right now.
to be angry right now.
Even though I'm angry at my parents.
Even though I'm angry at my parents.
And I haven't let myself feel this in a long time.
And I haven't let myself feel this in a long time.
I love and accept myself anyway.
I love and accept myself anyway.
And I'm going to give myself permission to be angry now.
And I'm going to give myself permission to be angry now.
Even though I was used to being a good girl.
Even though I was used to being a good girl.
I'm angry with my parents.
I'm angry with my parents.
And I'm going to give myself permission
And I'm going to give myself permission
to feel this now.
to feel this now.
Let's go to the top of the head and say, why would parents do that to a child?
Why would parents do that to a child?
Eyebrow point. I am so angry with them.
I'm so angry with them.
Side of the eye. Why would parents treat their own child that way?
Why would parents treat their own child that way?
Underneath the eye. I'm so angry.
I'm so angry.
Underneath the nose. And I've kept it in for a long time.
And I've kept it in for a long time.
Underneath the mouth. I can feel it in my head.
I can feel it in my head.
Collarbone point. Why would you do that to a child?
Why would you do that to a child?
Underneath the arms, especially as a parent.
Especially as a parent.
Underneath the chest. Why would you do that to your own child?
Why would you do that to your own child?
Wrist point. It seems terrible to me.
It seems terrible to me.
Top of the head. And I'm angry that they treated me that way.
And I'm angry that they treated me that way.
Eyebrow point. I'm really angry.
I'm really angry.
Side of the eye. And I don't know if I'm ready to let it go.
And I don't know if I'm ready to let it go.
Underneath the eye. Because why would parents do that to a child?
Because why would parents do that to a child?
All right. So take a deep breath. And one of the important parts of tapping is to know we're not trying to tap you out of a feeling. We're not trying to get rid of it. It's actually, I think, for you right now, Robin, giving you space to be angry. Because especially if as a young child, you were always trying to do the right thing and always trying to adapt and never really got the space to express yourself or be like, that little girl in you just might need some time to feel that. And to be like, this wasn't right. And I need to be heard. And that was not okay. So what's coming up for you now?
Just feeling pissed, but it's a lot less. I mean, I'm about down to a 6 now, where I was a 10 before, I mean, that just still angry, but it's not as high.
Yep. So remember we said tapping, the secret to success with tapping is in the specifics. So what are you like specifically pissed about? Like I'm pissed.
I'm pissed about who it formed me into as an adult, and some of the shit that I put my kids through because of what I carried with me into adulthood. And the perfectionist that I just can't seem to let go of, that I have to be perfect to make everybody like me, to make everything okay. And I give myself absolutely no grace when I make mistakes.
Is it frustrating as well? Or just anger?
I don't think there's frustration there. I think it's just anger.
Okay.
And maybe, what I'm feeling is a little bit of anger at myself for being, 65 years old. And man, you should have just, let this shit go a long time ago. And I think I do. And then it comes back.
Okay. I think everyone can feel that at some degree. I should have let this shit go a long time ago. Yeah. I'm just writing down all your words
Okay.
because that's where we get the big breakthroughs in tapping, is when we can use your specific wording. And okay, so let's do another round of tapping and we'll see if it shifts again. But that was a big shift from a 10 down to a 6. So we're going to go to the side of the hand again and say, even though I'm still pissed at my parents,
Even though I'm still pissed at my parents,
and rightly so,
and rightly so,
I love and accept myself anyway.
I love and accept myself anyway.
And I'm going to get this off my chest now.
And I'm going to get things off my chest now.
Even though I'm still pissed,
Even though I'm still pissed,
and rightly so,
and rightly so,
I love and accept myself anyway.
I love and accept myself anyway.
Even though I'm still angry,
Even though I'm still angry,
I'm angry at them and I'm angry at myself.
I'm angry at them and I'm angry at myself.
I love and accept myself anyway.
I love and accept myself anyway.
Let's go to the top of the head. Say, I'm pissed about who it formed me into.
I'm pissed about who it formed me into
Eyebrow point, as an adult.
as an adult.
Side of the eye, the way my parents treated me.
The way my parents treated me
Underneath the eye, turned me into a perfectionist.
turned me into a perfectionist.
Underneath the nose, and it put me through shit.
And it put me through shit.
Underneath the mouth, and my kids.
And my kids.
Collarbone point, and I'm so angry about that.
I'm so angry about that.
Underneath the arms, this is their fault.
This is their fault.
Underneath the chest, they made me this way.
They made me this way.
Wrist point, I have to do everything right.
I have to do everything right.
Top of the head, and if it's not perfect, it's not enough.
And if it's not perfect, it's not enough.
Eyebrow point, and this makes me so angry.
And this makes me so angry.
Side of the eye, I'm angry at myself.
I'm angry at myself.
Underneath the eye, I'm 65 years old.
I'm 65 years old.
Underneath the nose, I should have let this shit go a long time ago.
I should have let this shit go a long time ago.
Underneath the mouth, and it pisses me off.
And it pisses me off
Collarbone point, that here I am.
that here I am,
Underneath the arms, all these years later.
all these years later,
Underneath the chest, and all the shit they said and did.
and all the shit they said and did
Wrist point is still with me today.
is still with me today.
Top of the head, I'm really pissed.
I'm really pissed.
Good. All right, so what number is it at now? Anything coming up for you?
It's a lot lower. It's probably about a 3.
Wow.
And it felt good to put that into words.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it felt good to just say it out loud.
Yeah.
In a constructive way instead of just a ranting way.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And this is a power of tapping, right? As we say, it's the one space you can be honest in. And if you're feeling anger, bitterness, frustration, whatever it is, it's like the elephant in the room, right? That's why affirmations don't always work right away. Because if there's this big elephant in the room of anger, we got to give it a voice. We got to be able to express it and get it out. So the anger turned into feeling pissed. And now what are you feeling? It's the emotion.
So just kind of sad that it's done this to my life.
Okay. And how would you like to feel?
This isn't a feeling, I know, but I'd like to accept myself. I'd like to love myself without the judgment of non-perfection.
Okay, that thing that you just said, this isn't a familiar feeling, really key, because one of the things that we want to do at tapping is introduce the body to new feelings. And this is where the repetition of tapping will come in, because they're like, well, I don't even, it's like foreign object, like to accept myself and love myself just as I am. That's like way out there. Like I've never done that before. So it's like, what would it feel like in my body right now to love and accept myself as I am? And where do I feel that in my body? Robin, do you feel that anywhere specifically?
In my heart,
Mm,
heart.
yeah. And does it feel soft? Does it feel anything specific?
It feels like a little buzzy, like, you know,
Yeah.
it's the feeling I want, but it's that feeling of, do I deserve it? Do I, is it, it's kind of like I'm here, but you don't, I'm not going to attach. I'm just going to let you know, oh, it's here.
Okay. And the cool thing is with emotions, we can activate emotions with tapping, and there's nothing, you don't have to deserve it. It's just a sensation that we're teaching the body how to feel. So we'll tap one more round and then we'll move forward into the next questions. And going to the side of the hand, we're going to say, even though I was really angry and pissed before,
Even though I was really angry and pissed before,
I'm choosing to get it off my chest.
I'm choosing to get it off my chest.
It felt good to put that all into words.
It felt good to put that all into words.
And I'm feeling ready
And I'm feeling ready
to move on
to move on
and to really let that go.
and to really let that go.
Even though I was really angry and pissed before,
Even though I was really angry and pissed before,
I'm feeling different now.
I'm feeling different now.
I'm feeling this buzzing in my heart.
I'm feeling this buzzing in my heart.
Like maybe I could accept myself
Like maybe I could accept myself
just as I am today.
just as I am today.
Even though I'm still a little angry at them
Even though I'm still a little angry at them
and a little angry at myself,
and a little angry at myself,
I choose to love and accept myself now
I choose to love and accept myself now
and let this go today.
and let this go today.
Go to the top of the head. I choose to make space for my anger.
I choose to make space for my anger
Eyebrow point when it comes up.
when it comes up.
Side of the eye, I choose to let it out.
I choose to let it out.
Side of the eye, I choose to say what I didn't get to say as a child.
I choose to say what I didn't get to say as a child.
Underneath the nose, and when I'm ready,
When I'm ready,
underneath the mouth, I'll let it go.
I'll let it go.
Collarbone point. And I'm open to the possibility
And I'm open to the possibility
underneath the arms of accepting myself
of accepting myself
underneath the chest, just as I am today.
just as I am today.
Wrist point. I wonder what that would feel like in my body.
I wonder what that would feel like in my body.
Top of the head. What would it feel like to just accept myself?
What would it feel like just to accept myself,
Eyebrow point. To love myself.
to love myself
Side of the eye, just as I am today.
just as I am today?
Underneath the eye, I feel this buzzing in my heart.
I feel this buzzing in my heart.
Underneath the nose, I don't know if I can accept myself.
I don't know if I can accept myself,
Underneath the mouth, let alone love myself.
let alone love myself.
Collarbone point. This is a new feeling for my body.
This is a new feeling for my body.
Underneath the arms, feeling love and acceptance.
Feeling love and acceptance.
Underneath the chest, but I'm open to exploring this feeling today.
But I'm open to exploring this feeling today.
Good. And how is that feeling now? How's that treat?
That feels good.
Good.
It feels true.
Yes. Good. Well, I'm so grateful that you came today because we got to see an example again of real life tapping, and I want to see how quick it is. It's been 20 minutes and we went from a 10 down to, would you say a 1, a 0?
About a three.
Three. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably lower than that now. It's probably about a 1 now.
Awesome. And the homework for you is to practice the feeling of what does it feel like in my body to love and accept myself. For me, it feels like almost like a whooshing over my body. I'm like, oh yeah, like I forgot, like, okay, I can relax a little bit. And it's little bits at a time, integrating that feeling into the body. Awesome. Thank you, Robin. Any other questions?
No.
Great. Awesome. Well, I think tapping school will be perfect for you, especially as, we just are opening up this sort of pathway for you, because working with little Robin would be the next step. And you today are feeling peace, but we want younger you to feel peace. So that's what I would recommend next.
Okay. Thank you.
And for all of you here, I shared that there was going to be a big announcement today, and we call it a mic drop bonus because it's kind of like, all of a sudden, here we go. We're so happy to announce that there's a 12-part payment plan open for Tapping School, which makes it so much more accessible and affordable. So it's $530 a month for 12 months. And most people that do that usually end up paying it off early. So there's the option if you want to sign up at that price and then pay it off earlier. That just opens the doors for you guys to be able to come in at a different price point. And I want to make sure we get to more questions. So whoever wants to go next. Oh, I see some questions. Yes, please comment here. So I see Cindy, Mary, and Raina, you're all in the room. And if you want to be let in, please let me know. I'm happy to promote you into the room. I saw that it was declined, so I don't want to keep bugging you, but feel free to type your questions in. And Michelle, I see that you're also in the room. Do you have a question that you want to ask today? Let me see. Okay. Oh, you thought it was a mistake. Okay, Raina, I'm going to invite you back into the room. Sarah, was there anything that you wanted to cover after that round with Robin?
Oh, well, I had written down a couple notes, but do you mind if I jump in, Robin, to give you a couple things I was just seeing? Since I love talking, I love tapping, I love talking about tapping, but I was noticing one of the things that can come up when we're working on something that we've held on to for a long time, like you've been carrying this a long time, and it can feel, sometimes the subconscious feel, if a new feeling, even though we know it's the feeling we want to have, can feel, like you said, really unfamiliar. You're like, I've never felt this way. And so we can add that into our tapping rounds. Like, this feels weird, or like, this feels unfamiliar. I'm not used to feeling this way. I don't know if I could ever feel this way. So really addressing the part of us that's like, I want to feel this way. Like, I want to feel this way, but I have questions. Do I deserve this? Everything that happened in childhood, it left me feeling like maybe I don't, but I know I want to. And I know I've been carrying this a long time. And I wonder if I could start feeling, this is going to be key here. I wonder if I could start feeling safe enough to ever feel this new way, because something that happens with the subconscious that's really interesting, and it really explains why we hold on to things that we know aren't good for us, is it doesn't feel safe because it's not familiar. So in your childhood, this was the messaging that was given to you so you could receive love from your parents. They were like, love is conditional, right? It was conditional love. And now you carry that. So the subconscious is holding on to that. That is the only way that I can experience love. And even though consciously you can see, oh, that's not really love. The subconscious mind wants to hold on to what's familiar. So the way that we can kind of get in there, the really cool thing about tapping that differs from traditional therapy is you can, because you're in a relaxed state, because you're doing the somatic acupressure points, what happens is kind of the walls drop a little bit, and because the body is relaxed, you're not in fight or flight, the body's relaxed, and we can sneak in the subconscious and start to say, maybe we are safe enough to feel this. Maybe we can let this go. Maybe I don't have to carry all of this from the past. Maybe even though this is what my parents chose, I don't have to choose this for me. And really, so we're talking, it's almost this conversation with the part of us or the subconscious that's holding on to what's familiar, but what we know isn't really what we do, what we really in our hearts long for and deserve. You deserve to feel that love. Your parents needed to have the help that allowed them to give you that love, and now you can for yourself. But kind of the interesting thing with this is, just like you were able to acknowledge the anger, it's okay to be like, oh, I'm curious about this new feeling, but it also feels like, ooh, so different. You can oscillate back and forth, like, this feels different. I don't know if I can feel it completely, but I can feel it in my heart. I'm just not sure I can hold on to it. Maybe I don't deserve it, but maybe I do. And you start sort of going back and forth with the subconscious. You're having this conversation. And what happens is we slowly start to change those neural pathways. We slowly start to invite in truly feeling that new feeling. So I hope that's helpful as I was watching that. I mean, I do a lot of work. We all do. You'll notice this if you work with other people or yourself. There's so much work around worthiness and acceptance and love. Even I've done this for work for like over, I don't know, 16, 17 years. And as you were tapping, I was thinking, ooh, I still have parts of me that can't accept my body fully. Like, can I love myself completely? I can still feel that pull. And it's interesting because it is a layer. We work on this. We keep going in there. We keep going back in because the messaging from childhood is really strong within us. But we can slowly bring that down and start to experience it differently. So thanks for sharing today. I know it takes a lot of bravery to just open up in front of everyone. I really honor that. And I hope some of what I was able to offer will you can go back and watch this. I think, right, Jackie? You can rewatch this because you could use some of that language in your next rounds for yourself.
Thank you. That
Thanks.
is incredibly helpful. Yes.
Oh, well, I'm happy. I love this.
Sarah, the wealth of wisdom. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing that, because yeah, and inside tapping school, we go into this a lot more in depth, but the subconscious brain, like once you learn how to talk with it and communicate with it, it's so cool how quick the shifts can happen. I'm seeing a question here that came through. How do you figure out what to say in the script? So I'm going to open up, on day 2, I shared a few question prompts with you. And I'm going to just show you exactly where those are. If I can find the day 2. Sarah, is there anything you want to answer to that though? Like how would you explain how to figure out what to say in the script?
Well, I mean, one of the things, of course, we teach you that in tapping school. You get a lot of language because it's often kind of intimidating at first to think, what's the language? Like, how do I use this? When I'm listening to practitioners, you'll start to see that you use different language to help move the beliefs through. But ultimately, what you want to say in a tapping script is exactly how you're feeling in the moment. So really, the key to this is to tune in. What am I feeling in my body? What beliefs are coming up? What emotions are coming up? Or what is my experience right now? Like, maybe you don't know, you can't identify that it's sadness, but you realize I have heaviness in my chest. Maybe to you it feels like a color. Maybe it feels like the color blue. It's interesting how people have different experiences with how they're able to tune in to what's coming up for them. But with the tapping script, you really the most basic piece of it, and really the most important foundational piece, is you want to identify what it is you are experiencing right now in relation to whatever is coming up for you. So where Robin was able to identify that there was anger, then she was able to identify that she was pissed off, then she was able to identify she was sad in a session, we would have gone into that sadness a little bit more. And then she was also able to identify that a new feeling was potentially there. What do I want to feel next? So that is really how you kind of drive a session, is you're going to in detail figure out what it is I'm experiencing. What are the details around it? What am I seeing, experiencing, remembering, tapping on that, and then between each round, checking in what's coming up now. And then Jackie asked a great question of what is it that you want to feel? And one of the things in tapping school that we do is we teach that side of tapping. I think I mentioned it yesterday. We teach the other side. So once you've released all of this and you have this space open up, you start to fill it with what you want, with what you're choosing, with what your soul is is desiring to feel, what you know is your new truth. And that's a little bit different than some of the other programs, because this really, that's why we, you know, Jackie, it's a manifestation program. It's about how do you now become the person that you knew, not that you were meant to be, but the person, that whole complete healed person that now can resonate at this level and align with your future and your dreams and the things that you would like to experience in the world.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Sarah. And hopefully that helps, Mary. On day 2, you'll see I said it's like the interview yourself moment. So when I sit down to tap, I ask myself 4 questions. How am I feeling? And like write it down. How am I feeling today? Today I'm feeling fill in the blank. Or if you're tapping around a specific subject, like a relationship or money or business or your kids or whatever it is, how am I feeling about my business? I'm feeling frustrated or anxious. Okay, so you're identifying, how do I feel? Write it down. How high is that feeling on a scale of 0 to 10? Right now I feel anxious and it's a 10. Where do I feel it in my body? I feel it in my chest. And why? Why are you anxious about your business? I'm anxious about my business because there's more money out than going in, because I haven't taken action like I said I would. So that's how you figure out what to say. And then I'm going to open up. I've created a tapping script last night for anxiety. But for some reason it's not popping up on my computer. So I'm going to open it in Canva. And I'm going to, I explain this in the tapping script you're going to get in your email this weekend, which, by the way, I usually sell these tapping scripts and you're getting them for free. So props to you for signing up for these, because I'm really excited to be sharing these. And you'll see I walk you through that in each one. All right, give me 1 minute here. I'll open it up.
What you said about this, the interview yourself, Jackie, it's so great. It's such an easy way to figure out what to say, so you don't have to think about it. Now, obviously, as practitioners, there is language that you can use, like I said, that moves the subconscious through. There's things we can say. That's when you get into really learning the way to move quickly through something, especially when you're working with a client or yourself. But the interview yourself process of asking those 4 questions will give you everything you need to do that work. And then you might discover, hey, you know what, I actually do want to work with someone professionally, or because there's more there. And that's the great thing about tapping. It's a beautiful tool we can use for ourselves, but then sometimes we recognize, there's things that I need someone else to hold space for me.
So good. And when you hear me tap, right, and my language is very like, I've got my own style. Like you heard me say, even though I feel this way, there's a part of me that doesn't want to let it go. That's like a little bit more artistic type of tapping. That's not like the simplest form. And we teach you that languaging inside tapping school. But at the beginning, all you need to know is those basic 4 questions, like, how do I feel? Where do I feel in my body? How high is in a scale of 0 to 10? Why do I feel this way? And then fill in the blank. So you'll get this in your email this weekend, but you'll see at the top, before we begin, identify right here, those things. And then I get you to fill in the blank. So even though I feel anxious because, insert why you're feeling anxious. That's why the prep work is important. I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I feel this anxiety in where do you feel it in your body? In my chest. I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I feel really anxious, I love and accept myself anyway, and I'm open to letting it go. Okay. And so these scripts are going to help you get going with it. But I feel really anxious right now. And it says, insert why you feel anxious. I feel anxious because I'm not where I want to be. I should have been farther along by now. I can feel the anxiety in my body. I can feel it in my chest. All right. So that should walk you through and help put those pieces together. But also, like, if you're in a moment where you're like, I'm just like freaking out, not feeling good, you don't have to remember every word. You can just tap to the points and not even say anything. And you'll notice yourself take a deep breath. You'll notice yourself shift. Or you can just vent out, like Jackie Acrease said that first day I went into the bathroom and was like, I'm so angry right now. Like, I'm just so angry. I'm so angry. Just let herself say it. Michelle's question, no question. I have yet to finish day 3 and 4. I've used guided EFT with a therapist in the past and have just been reintroduced to EFT in the last couple of weeks. So I'm excited to bring it into my daily wellness practices and ultimately be able to help my clients with EFT as well. Michelle, this is so exciting. Yes, our community is full of therapists, coaches, wellness practitioners that are doing exactly what you're doing. You start to apply it on yourself, and that's really the best way to help others is you experience the profound effects, and you also, like, when you learn it, you can facilitate it at a better level. Even Sarah and I, when we teach this every year, we're like, oh, each time we teach it, each time we learn it, we get better at helping our own clients. So we are so excited you're here, Michelle, and hope you join us in tapping school, because you're going to do that personal work and apply the principles and the techniques at the same time. All right. Any other questions? Alyssa on Facebook says no questions, but I have to say I'm so glad I was introduced to the group. I effing love you guys. I'm so glad you're introduced to us too. And did you guys see that the new payment plan is open? So 12-part payment plan makes it super affordable. And I'm like, if you have any questions about the program, in the sales page, you'll see all the calendar is there. Sarah and I, maybe we should go through the frequently asked questions. Sarah, is there anything that you think they should know?
Well, I was going to ask Michelle. I don't know if you're able to answer, Michelle, but I was kind of curious to what you do with clients, because tapping is a different and wonderful tool to add with your clients. Like when I added it, I mean, it now is all that I do with my clients, because it is so powerful. And the shifts for me personally were so huge. And then I started realizing they were just as big for everyone I worked with, and it became the thing that I do. So I was curious, like, what do you work with clients for? What do you? Nice
There we go. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Yeah, there you are. Hi.
Here I am. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I have recently done a little evolving in my business, and I am a life/empowerment transition coach, specifically during the midlife reawakening period. And really,
Reawakening.
that's reawakening. There is no longer
Really
a midlife
awesome reframe.
crisis.
I love that. I'm right about there. So I'm like, I like a reawakening. Like, that sounds better than crisis.
Yes. And actually, as I'm listening in and you guys are chatting, and I'm thinking about EFT really came into play during my reawakening, and clearing a lot of negative blocks, negative energy, a lot of conditioned mindset from my childhood that I needed to clear out. I needed to do a lot of forgiving of my younger self. And so I did all of this with EFT, and like I said, it just like literally, I just got reintroduced to it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot how fucking amazing it is. So yeah. I'm super duper excited to bring it back into my daily routines and use it as a resource in my life, and then be able to share it and help others as they, go through different transitions in their lives. And so that's what I'm doing.
I love that. Well, I can see, especially with transitions, I mean, it works so well, and because you used it, it clears so many things. Even the reframe, we call it a reframe in tapping when we introduce like a different belief or a different way of thinking about something. That reframe of reawakening is so powerful. That is really stellar. I love and the idea that with clients, what I found, and you felt it yourself, is just how quickly you can move through things, because you're really working with the subconscious in a way, in a somatic way. It's just so different. I mean, I did counseling therapy for years, and this to me is just radical, because it shifts like this. You're just having that change. So that's amazing. I love what you're doing. I'm like, I'm gonna have to follow you.
I'm for you. I think that you could create some cool tapping bundles. My first business was called Transition Tapping, and it was for helping women transitioning in relationships, because tapping is that middle point, right? That's why we teach in tapping school release to receive, right? It's specific cycles that we're in. But I could see you making some cool tapping bundles for women specifically in transition, or even, and within that, like having 6 to 8 different videos, like what do you find women experience when they're in this reawakening like segment of their life?
Themes.
Any
Yeah.
themes that you notice?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak for myself. Like I have 4 kids and I lost myself in motherhood. And so that's really kind of like where like all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, like who am I? You know? And so it was like really like coming back into myself. So and I feel like a lot of women go through that, not just in motherhood, but so focused on career and business and getting established and being successful. And then you get to midlife and you're like, crap. I mean, I was a birth doula for many years, and I saw it many times with older moms that were like, oh, I need to start a family. Like, how do I do? So there's just, yeah, there's like so much out there, but that's what I was thinking too. I was like, I can totally offer EFT packages and
Yeah.
videos as resources to my clients. So I'm super excited.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I
The I
love that.
lost myself in motherhood tapping bundle would sell hot cake.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited you're here. We hope you join us. I mean, we can help you obviously learn the skill tapping to
Mhm.
level, but also the business stuff is my favorite. I love seeing you take it and then put it out into the world. So anytime
Yeah.
you can jam on that stuff. I'm here.
Awesome. I'll reach out. I'm following you on Instagram now. I'll reach out in the DMs so we can follow each other.
Okay.
Yay, perfect.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to
Sure.
meet you. Thanks for
Yeah,
sharing.
likewise. Mhm.
I
I
love for
see-
your awakening. I want to follow this.
I see a comment here in the Facebook group. Nicole says, I really want to join the training, but I'm starting a 400-hour breathwork facilitator course. Do you recommend waiting till the next cohort, or do you have suggestions? Okay, Nicole, you're not the only person that has actually been specifically in a breathwork training. Not last round, the round before, we had a client, Annalisa, and she was doing breathwork, Reiki, and tapping at the same time. And the way the course is built out is with a lot of flexibility. So the modules are delivered bi-weekly, so you can watch that at any time. And they're in bite-sized chunks, because for me, I personally, like, if I see an hour-long thing, I'm like, oh, but if I see a 10-minute video, I'm like, I can do that. So we've built it really easy to consume. And the only live calls you're required to come to are the pod calls. And the pod calls are where you're going to learn a module and learn a technique, and then come and apply it with your classmates. So you're just going to practice it. And Sarah and I are there to give you feedback. If you have any questions, we're just there for live support. So I think it would be perfect for you right now. I think you're going to see a massive momentum and transition in your life if you pair these two things together. And I think like starting it at the same time, we've seen it happen before, and it works fine. But you'll just see a lot of momentum in your results, especially adding breath work to it. Sarah, anything you would add to that?
Well, I think that I absolutely think the two could go together. It would depend on what you were doing at the time, whether I would say that, but I really actually feel like if you're entering another somatic practice and then you add tapping, you might find actually the two are synergetic and support each other. So if you're having like blocks in one, you can use tapping to help move through, or if you're noticing with your tapping some resistance coming up, you can then use the breath work. Actually, I mean, I can see how you could weave them together, and it would probably deepen your experience with both. So to me, I'm like it, and like Jackie said, we're both moms we're entrepreneurs who have our businesses, have private practice also. We understand and made this program really flexible, but also where you're getting this really powerful experience. It's an amazing mix of the two, where it's really digestible. You're able to come and get maximum support when you're there, but also you have like a lot of time and a lot of flexibility to complete things. And we even have a month in the middle where we call it the catch-up month, and we actually don't have any live calls unless you want to come to some to like catch up and like chat with us. But we give this expansive space for once you've consumed the information, then you've got time to start practicing it and doing that. And then after that, there's a couple more months of the program even still. So it really feels spacious. And we've worked with different over the years. We've offered it at different lengths to really opt to find what's optimal for students learning, for everyone that's working. We know who our audience is, and we have a lot of people who have other businesses or who are moms. So the time commitment here is really, really doable, even if you're involved in many other things. This is just adding this beautiful layer and community.
Yeah, spaciousness is key. Like I love spaciousness, so I try to create that. And if for some reason, like, because this happens in life, something you're halfway through a training and something comes up, we also offer extensions. So obviously the training goes till March, but if in January some life thing came up and you're like, oh, I got a bit behind, we do offer extensions. And that extension is for your tapping hours. So we have minimum tapping 10 times a month. Ideally, you can do more or less depending on what you need each month. But if you don't have your full hours by March, you have an extension. So you have more time to gain those hours afterwards.
Because our goal is to have you succeed and be certified. That is our goal. It is not to fit within these parameters. Neither Jackie or I wanted that. So we really do create that spaciousness. If you get to the end of the program and you're like, we all know many things come up in our life. So we offer a really easy extension. You can still have your tapping buddies, we call them, because that's one of the beautiful things about this program. A lot of other programs, you're having to seek out, who am I going to tap with? Who am I going to do my practice with? I'm not quite ready to use it with my clients yet, or I can only practice on my spouse so many times. Well, in this program, you tap with each other, so you get to know. That's how we create such intimacy in the group, because you start to be really vulnerable with one another, and it's beautiful exchange because everyone is sharing and everyone is experiencing this together, and you have each other to practice with. So if we're learning a new technique, you come into the session with your tapping buddies and you're like, hey, I want to work on this. I've never done it before. Everybody's learning. I've got my paper out in front of me. Okay, I'm going to try this technique. And everybody's learning at the same pace. And everyone comes in together. And so it's really a beautiful place to practice and become proficient and confident. And so by the time you're done with this, we just had our second to last call with our group that started last year or at the beginning of this year. And it's amazing to see the confidence, what they've all worked on and been through, and now how well they know one another, and these beautiful relationships that continue after this. So you can continue your tapping practice. But I think knowing and feeling confident, because it can feel intimidating. Oh, how am I going to get 10 sessions? Who am I going to book these with? Two things. One, you have lots of time even after the end of the program to complete this. And you've got all the women in the program who will be there to share and you'll tap with. That is amazing.
I see Ashley's comment. Ashley did our training a few years ago, and she said, having tapping buddies is one of the best parts of certifications for me. Ashley just got married in July, and her tapping buddy flew from Hawaii to come to her wedding. Like it is, that's how Sarah and I know each other, being tapping buddies. So it's so much more than just the training itself. Anyone else here? Cindy, I saw your message. Tamber, welcome to the room. Mary, Raina, any other questions? Feel free to unmute. And I see Cindy's comment here. I've been interested in EFT for quite some time, several years actually, but I've never had the time and felt intimidated by it. I'm so glad to be here and learn more about it. I need to heal from my childhood traumas too, and would like to use it with my husband and sons and work with my clients I'm a family support worker. We've had family support workers in the program, and they've transitioned fully into EFT. Laura Parkinson, you'll get her training. She does a tapping and trauma training inside Tapping School. And she was specifically a social worker, but fully went into EFT. And the comment on feeling intimidated, we keep it really simple. My core values are freedom, fun, and connection. So it's, yes, we're doing serious deep work, but it's also a fun community to be a part of. And we meet you where you're at. That's the beauty of tapping. It will meet you where you're at and only take you to where you feel safe going, right? It's gonna expand you and push you, but in a safe and empowering way. That's something we talk a lot about with EFT. So Cindy, I'm so glad that we found each other, because maybe now's the time for you. Any other questions from anybody here on the live? Nicole got her answer question in the comments. Awesome. Feel free to unmute if you have any other requests. I'm going to share the sales page if you haven't seen it yet. You're on the sales page. If you scroll down, you'll see frequently asked questions. So we just click this little button and you'll see, how do I know if this program's right for me? How will I interact with the instructors? Will I receive guidance? Yes, there's lots of in-person interaction. This isn't just like a program that you take and then you never open the modules. Like we will keep you committed and connected to the work. Do I have to attend every live call? No, there's only the one pod call that you have to attend. How is the content delivered? What is an experiential program? This is a really important piece. So Sarah, do you want to speak to that for a moment? What is an experiential program?
Sure, I'm happy to. So what makes our program stand out in ways that's different than just going for a weekend program is that you are going to get to practice this. So you're going to do over 5 months or a little bit longer if you need that. You're going to be doing 50 sessions and you'll be doing 30 as the practitioner and the coach yourself, and you'll be doing 20 where you're the client. And so this is a hands-on learning. We want you to not just have EFT in theory and read about it. We want you to live and breathe EFT so you know how to do it, so you can confidently stand wherever you are in your life, whether it's with your family, for yourself, or with clients. You feel like you are confident and prepared to tap with all kinds of things that come up. And that means that we have you practice. So one of the things that's really important though with this is the next question is like, I'm a little nervous about working with my peers. How do we do this safely? Well, Jackie and I really believe that this, the container that you're in, that you're with us, we call it like a sacred space, a sacred container. And that within that, safety is one of the number one things, because we are working with the subconscious and we're working together, learning how to coach in this way. So we teach you all the ethics around this. We teach you how to hold space for big emotions. We teach you about having, holding and creating the safe container that you're in. We really get into the ethics of it and dig into also like our own triggers and what things are coming up for us and where are our limits as a practitioner. Because one of the things, like I said, that we believe in is that as you're going out into the world to be a good practitioner, you need to be a practitioner who's in integrity, who knows what do you say, Jackie? Knows their limits and plays within them. So we're here to make sure that this is a safe experience and a safe environment. And so what's built into the curriculum, we have an entire module on ethics. We also start the program with the tenets of how to practice safely. How do you do this? What do you do when you're showing up with someone? How do you set the expectations? How do you share with your tapping buddies what you can and are willing to work on? What do we do when we're triggered? We also have a network of people who have gone through our program, of amazing and stellar practitioners. We have people who work with trauma. So if anything comes up while you're working on the program, maybe you're surprised by it. Maybe you already know it's there. We are here to connect you with the support you need so that you can get outside support with practitioners. And of course, you'd enter into a contract with them and you'd be paying them separately. But we have all the resources to make sure that you feel supported, safe, you learn about ethics, you learn about integrity. And because of that, you get to be in this really great experiential program. And like Ashley says, one of my favorite things, tapping buddies. Jackie and I went through an experiential program, and we also found that we left with friendship. We left feeling like we had healed many things within ourselves. We'd experienced what it was like to be a client. We'd experienced what it's like to be on the other side of the chair or the Zoom room. And we also left with professional friendships that we can now access afterwards. So if I have a client that I'm struggling with, or I have something personal, I call Jackie and I'm like, hey, I need a session on this. So we really set this up so that you feel supported and, like I said, confident. You feel like you're capable. You don't have doubts within yourself. You really feel like you're ready to do this and to use this tool fully and integrate it into your life. And like I said, it's not just something you're going to read in a book and be like, oh, maybe I'll figure this out someday. No, this is something that now you'll be able to use and pass on to others.
I will say we do create confident practitioners. Even people that come in that are super quiet and shy and like, I don't know.
And new.
Yeah. And just like, and the tapping is a lot about self-expression, right? And so really your personal confidence and then confidence as a practitioner, like anyone that taps with any of my people are going to have a profound experience. They're going to experience a shift. And Allison, I want to give you a shout out in the comments. She said, I'm here if anyone ever needs to tap as well. She's one of our practitioners. She said, I found a family of people who I can be more honest with than many of my close friends. No need to be intimidated. There's a safe space to find yourself here. And yeah, I just really appreciate you saying that, Allison. So I wanted to share the schedule because this is important. When's it starting? What's happening? So the doors are open for tapping school until this coming Monday. So Monday, the 25th, the doors close. And then we'll have a week to prepare. October 4th, we're going to do our welcome call. So we do a live Zoom call where we all come together and meet each other. And then October 5th, your first module releases. You don't have to watch it on the 5th. You can watch it anytime. The 12th, your second module releases. And then the 19th, the third module releases. So the first month we give you a lot of content because it's very simple, straightforward, but it gives you everything you need to know. And then we meet on the 17th to start practicing what you've learned, putting it together. And then the 24th, we have a Q&A call. So the only live call would be the 17th. And if for some reason that time doesn't work for you, we're open to it, right? If we can do a pull in the group and there's a different time, we're open to adjusting to the best of our ability, but that's the only mandatory call. Then November, again, the 14th is the only live call that you're required to attend. December is a catch-up month, but we have the 13th. So say you couldn't come to one of the pod calls in October or November, December is a bonus call. So if you haven't come to one, you can come then, or if you want to come to a bonus one, you're welcome to. And then we have a business brainstorming call in December. And these calls, we did one yesterday in our current round of tapping, and they are fire. Like we go through each person live and we give you one-on-one feedback within a group setting on what you need in your business, any tips, any strategies, any questions that you have. It's about a 2-hour call, depending on the size of the group. But those alone are super high value. Then we start again in January. You'll get your module on the 4th. Only live call in January is the 16th, the pod call. We have another business brainstorming call in January, which is great if you want to be promoting stuff into the new year. And then that Q&A on the 23rd. And then February, final month, module 8 is released. We have another pod call, Q&A, our graduation. So this is the layout. It's actually going to go by quite quickly. And I look at this, it's mega transformation in a short amount of time. On top of that, we have some additional training. So we have workshops that you can go deeper on your foundational tapping skills. We have building confidence as a practitioner, how to hold space for big emotions. Sarah, am I missing one?
Let's see, we're tapping with the body. We do tapping with the body. So we do an entire, there's a pre-recorded class on that. So you're able to go into like, how do you specifically work with the body and tapping? It's really interesting. Once you start digging into this, you're going to find like, that's actually a favorite class. And we host it every year. And the tapping technique workshops are really important too, because you're going to get all the information in the module, but then you can watch this and you'll see a demonstration. We'll go step by step through some of the foundational techniques again. So if you've seen it in the module, this is another way to receive it. I think when you look at that schedule, like we make the live classes really easy for you to come to, and it's not an overwhelming amount of information. And then by the time you get to December and January, you really start to get into those extra classes. So that can be really exciting because you're ready to add more things to your practice.
I want to share bonus trainings because you guys all met Jackie Acree. You know how awesome she is. So she does a full class on tapping and goal trauma. And I participated in that class this last round, and it transformed me on such a deep level. It's really cool to receive tapping, specifically if you're like struggling with procrastination or like you've set a goal and you haven't hit it and then you feel like afraid to set it again. That class is so good. Laura Parkinson, another one of our top teacher trainers, she has a tapping class on trauma. Sarah and I both like had such a deep shift in this class. So she's a great resource if you say you have a client come in and they have a lot of trauma and you're like, I don't know that I'm fully equipped for that. You have Laura as a resource and this class. Lisa Fraley is one of the best attorneys in the industry, especially for health and wellness coaches. She has a full step-by-step process of what you need to do to get legally covered as an EFT practitioner if you're in health and wellness. Michelle Cooper is my accountant and CFO, and she has a great class on manifesting and managing your money, because things from like bookkeeping to bringing sales in, she is the go-to girl for me. She has a class. Megan Hale, many of you here might be here because of Megan. She helps with money tracking and money systems and how to create an offer. So like a tapping package that would sustain your income for a full year. And she's actually a big reason why tapping school exists, because I was doing little tapping trainings here and there. And then she said to me, Jackie, why don't we create a certification program and you create a business model that supports you financially as well for long term and helps more people. And I was like, whoa, so she's great with business strategy. Her class, and then Allison Braun, one of my first mentors, being in Allison's energy, she teaches how to run a business without burnout and creating a lot of pleasure, space, and ease in specifically like how you're booking your clients. She also offers a Clarity to Clients course and a business pleasure map course. So how to attract soulmate clients, all that. And Elena Lipson is a well-known copywriter in the industry. She offers, if you have like a piece of copy for a sales page or an Instagram post, you can submit it to her. She'll give you feedback on it. She does a full training. And then Ava, who has a diversity and inclusivity training, which is very important. That training alone makes this whole bonus section the best. So I know you don't know these people personally, but I wouldn't be where I am today without them, and they've all contributed massively to this. So you're also getting training from each of them. I see a question. I still work a day job, so I won't be able to do the 9 to 5. Is there an alternative if I can't make it? Yes, if you can't make it to a pod call, there is an alternative. So no worries if you're like, I can't make that time. We do have a submission process. You can just submit a tapping session for us to give you feedback on. That's absolutely if you can't make the live calls, because the live calls are awesome, but we can totally work around that. No problem. All right. I feel like we covered everything. Thank you all so much for coming today. If there's any other questions, you can pop them in the group, and please send me a message. I'd love to get to know you. If you're like, I'm interested in diving into tapping, like how could this support me? I love to brainstorm ideas. I love to help you find how it can work for you. And anything else before we sign off? Sarah, Tamber, Ashley, Cindy, Mary, Raina, anything else? I think we're good.
Well, thank you for having me, Jackie. I always love being here, and I'm excited to meet all the new students who we're going to travel with this year. So if you feel called to this, or if you're interested, or you're just, even if you're on the fence, reach out to Jackie. We can talk to you about how you can integrate this into your life, and is this the best time for you? Like I said, when I got on the plane to do my own training, I thought, this is crazy. Like, I am just healing from devastating illness, and I'm not really sure, but it literally changed the course of my life and was one of the best things I've ever done, professionally and personally. So Jackie and I made this course to have that transformative power. So if you're feeling like you want to do it, we'd love to have you join us. And thank you for having me today.
Yeah, and I was a newly single mom at 20 years old when I took my course with no money. I had to borrow it from family. But it was my mom to this day is like, that is the best investment I ever made in you, because it completely transformed my health and then my life. So wherever you're at, feel free to reach out. And last thing, advanced. If you want to do the deep inner child healing work, I highly recommend doing advanced. That's where we go all the way in. So tapping school itself is going to give you everything you need to be a confident, skilled, talented practitioner. But if you want to like go to next level, in-depth healing on core memories, do tapping school plus advanced. And that's all I'll say for today.
And if you're interested in parts of self-work, because it's really, I know in the industry it's very hot right now, but Jackie and I have been doing this work for a very long time and have found a way to integrate that into tapping practice, and it's incredibly powerful. It starts the advance starts this fall, and we run it every fall. So we'd be excited to see any of you that want to do that too.
If you sign up for advanced now, you'll go through regular tapping school, and then your advanced session will start next fall, just so to clarify that. Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
you'll start next year. Well, it's so exciting. I love being here. And I want to thank Robin too. Thank you so much I know you're not here right here now, but if she's watching the replay, thank you for coming on and being so vulnerable and sharing with us. And it was really an honor. And thanks for letting me nerd out on tapping. I love talking about this stuff. It's my dream. So
Out in the email, we got a bunch of good resources coming. We have tapping scripts this weekend. I did a tapping session this morning that was super good. And so I'm going to send that to you as well. And we can't wait to see you in tapping school. Bye.